Hello students, we will begin our class. In today's video, I'll try to give you a very brief explanation or introduction about what is plant geography and what are the topics that we'll be studying in plant geography, and we'll also try to learn the definition of plant geography. Okay. Now first let us see the portion of the syllabus that is allotted to me. There is paper 3. In semester 3 you have only one paper of theory and one more practical paper that is also numbered as paper 3 practical. Now the first 2 units is allotted to Saikedas. I think he has already started taking classes. Unit 3 is allotted to Sai SMS, and unit 4 is mine. There are 4 different topics in unit 4. Just have a look at the topics here. Floristry regions of India will be the first topic that we'll discuss, followed by then I will go to the third one, center of origin of plants, primary and secondary centers. Then we'll discuss barriers to plant migration, and topic number 2 will be the last topic that we'll discuss in our online classes. Okay, now these topics, let me tell you something that topics are not very difficult. I mean, it's easy only. Okay, so those who have some amount of knowledge of geography, then it will be very easy for you to understand the concepts, but it's a bit lengthy. All the topics mentioned here from topic 1 to topic 4, especially as far as your exam is concerned, you have to write long answers. That is the only problem. Otherwise understanding will not be so difficult for you, and I'll try to make it as simple as possible for you. Right now, as far as the recommended readings or the books are concerned, we have a problem here with this unit, that like all other units, books are not available for this phytogeography portion. Okay, there is no any dedicated book or specialized book which is written only for phytogeography. I have tried to search for these books. I have been trying actually in last almost a decade to get a book only on phytogeography, those dedicated ones. Okay, but then I was not able to get any book on phytogeography. There are some very old books which whose names are not there in this list, and those are out of publications also. That is why they are not available in the market anymore. Okay, so out of all these, I can just recommend one name here which I have highlighted with the yellow color here. You see, Z.S. Puri, Forest Ecology Volume 1, published by Oxford IBH, New Delhi. Now if you want to buy, you can go for this. Most probably it is available online, but it's also available as a soft copy. Means the PDF version of this book is available online. You just have to do some googling, then probably you'll get it to download also. All right, so if possible, you just go for it, and those who want, you can get a copy of this PDF version of this book from me too. So out of these 4 topics that I have mentioned, in this book you will find 3 topics. Okay, all the topics are not there, but then if you buy the whole book, then out of 4 you'll get only 3 topics explained there. Then from the suggested readings, we have a very good book of ecology which is known as Manual of Plant Ecology, written by K.C. Mishra. It's a 1988 publication, but still it is a very considered as a classic book of ecology. And if you want to consult topic 1, topic 2 and topic 4, then you can go for this book. So topic 3 will not be here in this book, but otherwise this is a very good book for students of ecology, especially if those botany honor students. If you want to go for higher studies, then you must have a copy of this book with you. Now the last one that I will recommend here is the book Plant Breeding. Actually this is a genetics book, but we have one topic which you will find only in this book. explained nicely, and that is known as Center of Origin of Cultivated Plants, the topic number 3 in your syllabus, written by B.D. Singh. It's a 1998 publication published by Kalyani Publishers, and the cost is 550 rupees. So you decide what to do. Now the good news is that in all those years when I was struggling to get books on phytogeography and trying to collect all the resources from internet and theses and government reports, whatever was available, to compile notes for phytogeography. So over the years, I have collected small pieces of information from these books or other resources, and finally I could compile all the notes which will be required for an undergraduate students on this phytogeography topic. So you need not to worry. Even if you do not have a book on phytogeography, please do consult the notes which will be uploaded from time to time in your Google Classroom classes. Okay, but that is not to say that you should not have a copy of a book. Those who want, as I said, I repeat again that this G.S. Puri Forest Ecology, this is the only authentic book at present which is available for phytogeography, at least for some of the topics. So you can get this book from me. Right. So let us move to the next one. Now we'll try to define what is plant geography or what is phytogeography. Now we all know what is geography, isn't it? Geography means, in geography what do? We study the physical properties of earth's surface, is not it? Now geography in relation to plant. So what is the meaning of this? Geography in relation to plant, or geography of a plant, isn't it? So it's very easy to understand that geography of a plant means we will study distribution of plants space wise and also in relation to time, right? So the definition, it's a very common definition of phytogeography or plant geography. Just have a look at this, that it is a branch of botanical science which deals with the spatial relationship of plants. Spatial relationship means relating to space, both in the present and in the past. So in a particular study area, or in a particular country, in a particular continent, in a particular state, in a mountain, etc., etc., what are the plants which are growing there, what are the plants which are distributed there? This is known as spatial relationship of plants. Okay. Now, but that is not sufficient. In phytogeography, there is another angle to it, that they study the distribution of plants both in the present and in the past. So at present, what are the plants growing in a particular area? It's not very difficult to study because you just have to explore the fields. So you'll get to know the plants growing there. You just have to make a list or describe them. Okay, so that will constitute your phytogeography record or phytogeography study of that area. But the plants which were found in a study area in the past, in the geological past. So how do we study that? How a phytogeographer will study that? They study that with the help of paleobotanical evidences or paleontological evidences. Okay. Now a better way to define phytogeography is, this definition was given by a very famous phytogeographer, Ronald Good, in 1974 in his book Phytogeography. That book is out of publication, that is why it's not available anymore. But then this is a very good book of phytogeography. According to him, phytogeography is a branch of botany that deals with the distribution of plants in present and past. So the same thing which we have discussed in the previous slide. I hope you understand this definition. In plant geography, a phytogeographer studies the distribution of plants in different places, both in the present and in the past. Right. Now, like any other branch of science, here in phytogeography also we have a father of phytogeography. Now his name is Alexander von Humboldt. He was a Prussian botanist, so rather he was not a botanist, he was a geographer, and he was a naturalist, and he was an explorer. He explored extensively almost 4 different continents. He conducted experiments or he conducted studies on different aspects of science, not only in botany. He studied different subjects or different topics of geology, physics, geography, geology, etc., etc. And he compiled, towards the later part of his life, he compiled all his findings in 36 volumes and published them as under one name. The name of the series of volumes are Cosmos, Kosmos. Okay. Now, out of all those volumes, 2 volumes were specially dedicated to the plant geography, or you can say at that time the plant geography did not exist. No one knew that there is a new branch of botanical science known as phytogeography. At that time it was just like an ecological study of plants. Okay. So the first book, which was published in 1805, namely Essay on the Geography of Plants, and the second one 1808, Aspects of Nature. In these two books he described the geographical studies on plants, and that has given rise to a new branch of botanical science which is known as phytogeography today. So he is honored as the father of phytogeography. He was a Prussian citizen. Prussia doesn't exist anymore at present. It has been broken into many pieces, distributed mainly in Germany, Poland, Denmark, Belgium, and a part I think has gone to Russia also. Okay, so just remember, Alexander von Humboldt is the father of phytogeography. Now in phytogeography there are 2 main branches, or you can say there are 2 main approaches to the study of phytogeography. Number one is known as descriptive phytogeography or static phytogeography. In static phytogeography, what we do, or what a phytogeographer does, they study the description of flora and vegetation of different botanical areas, which means they have a study area. Say the study area may be a state, it may be a mountain, it may be a continent, it may be a country, or it may be a region like Northeast India. Okay, then they classify those areas and they study or they describe the flora and vegetation of those areas. Say for example, our country India politically is divided into 28 states and 8 union territories at present. So we have 36 political divisions, but for a phytogeographer that is not important. So based on the type of plants and the climatic conditions within our country, a phytogeographer will split it into different parts, and after that they will study the what kind of plants are growing at present or distributed at present in those areas, and probably what were the plants which were found or distributed in the geological past in those areas. So that is known as static or descriptive phytogeography. It describes what it describes. It describes flora and vegetation. Now let us also know that, okay, we have said flora. What is the meaning of a flora? Look at the definition here. Flora is the list of plant species of an area. Very simple definition. So that means in flora or in floristic studies, what they do, a phytogeographer will simply list each and every plant species growing in his or her study area. Say if we say flora of St. Anthony's College campus, what we are supposed to study there? Inside the campus of St. Anthony's College, each and every plant species growing there has to be recorded in our study, and they have to be described with their scientific name, and they have to be given a taxonomic treatment. Means the flower structure, what time they bloom, what are the stem structure, how many stamens, carpels, all those things are there. Okay, so that constitute a flora of a particular region. Remember, list of plant species doesn't mean that you just have to write mango, jackfruit, plum, etc., etc. Not like this. You have to give scientific names, botanical name of those plant species, and remember, flora is qualitative. each and every plant species found in your study area has to be recorded, irrespective of their numerical strength. Let me give you one example. Say in our college campus, we have hardly 2 or 3 saplings of cycas in front of that coffee house. I think you also have seen that. And we have at least 30-40 trees of pine. Okay, and we have only one sapling of Citrus indica, which is the progenitor of the lemon and the orange species in the botanical garden. We have only one sapling of Ginkgo biloba, which is originally from China. But then all this plant has to be given equal status or equal weightage in a floristic study. Now I have kept the images of the books which are very famous here in the northeastern India. Look at the first one, Flora of Assam. This is just like a Bible for anyone who wants to work on plants of Northeast India. This volume was compiled by Kanjilal et al. Means they were a group of 4-5 people and published in 1934 in 5 different volumes. And at that time it was undivided Assam, so it's known as Flora of Assam. I will again tell you that this is just like a Bible for the botanists working in Northeast India. Anyone who wants to work on plants in Northeast India cannot avoid referring to this book. Okay, so we have 5 different volumes in our department library also. If you want, you can have a look at this, what is there inside Flora of Assam. Then here this is the cover page of a digital version of a very famous flora. This is Forest Flora of Meghalaya. It's written by Haridasan and Rao. This is the cover page of the second volume. There are 2 volumes of this book. Okay, if you get any opportunity to see these books, I think we have copies of these books there in the department, so you can come and you can have a look at these books later on. Now also have a look at this. This is a very recent publication, most probably in 2016 to 17. This book was published by BSI, Botanical Survey of India, which is located there here in Shillong, the Eastern Circle. Okay, checklist of Flora of Meghalaya. Here it contains the names of all the plant species that they have recorded from Meghalaya. Then bamboos of Meghalaya. This is also a floristic study. All the species of bamboos found in the state of Meghalaya has been recorded here. Alright. Now if that is the meaning of flora, then what is the vegetation? Because these 2 terminologies are so similar. Sometimes people use them as synonyms, but they are not synonymous. Flora is different, as you have understood. In flora means it is the list of plant species found growing in a particular area. Now if that is the definition of flora, what is vegetation? Look at the definition here. Vegetation means it is the general appearance of plants growing in a particular area. So in vegetation we do not give emphasis to individual plant species. What we do, we just look at them in general, overall, the sum total of plant growth in a particular area, which is characterized by the dominant plant species. That is a definition of vegetation. Now okay, you will understand that if I give you this example. Look at the first image here. There are so many different species here. There are grasses, there are different species of trees. So if you have to conduct a floristic study here, then what you will do, you have to record each and every species here. Suppose these are grass species, it has a name here. Okay, so you have to record that name. Then this plant, what is the botanical name of this plant, what is the botanical name of this plant, what is the scientific name of this plant. So each and every plant species you have to record. But when you study the vegetation of this area, you need not to be concerned about what are the names of each and every plant species which is found growing in that area. So what we will see, we will just have an overview of the entire area. How does it look like? Trees are present, grasses are there. So what do we call this? This is a grassland. So if we say this is a grassland, does it mean that there are no trees? trees are there. Then why we call it a grassland? Because the dominant species here is a grass, a kind of grass. Okay, so we call it a grassland, right? So that is the vegetational study. Means in vegetational studies we just consider the general appearance of the plants growing in a particular area. Individual species is not given importance. Now look at this. What we call this kind of what we call this kind of plant growth? We call it a forest. When we call it a forest, does it mean that grasses are not there, epiphytes are not there, shrubs are not there? Yes, these are shrubs, these are grasses here. But then why we call it a forest? Because this particular area is dominated by tree species, right? So this is a forest vegetation, this is a grassland vegetation. All right, so I hope that you have understood the difference between flora and vegetation. Now the second approach, or the second strategy or second branch of phytogeography is known as dynamic or interpretive phytogeography. The first one was static phytogeography. Now what is interpretation? I think all of we understand that we have to do analysis, some kind of analysis. Okay, dynamic or interpretive phytogeography deals with the studies of causes of plant distribution. What is the meaning of this? So what a phytogeographer does here in interpretive phytogeography is that they try to study or try to analyze the causes of plant distribution. Now what is this plant distribution? Plant distribution means scattering of plant. Okay, see, all of us, or let me put it like this, that the biologists or the scientists, they believe that all the plant species, though they are found in almost all the continents of the world, they did not evolve, they did not originate simultaneously in each and every corner of the world. All right, what actually happened is that each and every plant species originate in a particular area of the world, only in a particular area, and from that area they migrate. All right, they migrate to other places. That is called plant migration. Okay, now there are many factors which will decide whether a plant which originates in a particular area will be able to migrate to the other parts of the world or not. There will be barriers to plant migration, there will be facilitators of plant migration. Environmental condition will play a very important role. Then the presence of mountains, presence of oceans, then biological factors also, like presence of herbivores, presence of even men. All these factors are very important in the process of distribution of plants. Okay, so in dynamic phytogeography, what a phytogeographer does, a phytogeographer try to analyze the causes, the factors which affect the distribution of plants. If a plant is not able to distribute, means it is confined to a particular area where it originated, why it is not able to migrate to other places. Or if a plant has already been proved to be originated in a particular location of the world, and now it has spread to all the parts of the world, a phytogeographer will study what are the factors which helped this plant to migrate, successfully migrate to the other parts of the world. So that is what in dynamic phytogeography we study. Okay, now hope you have understood these definitions of phytogeography, what is a static phytogeography and what is a dynamic phytogeography. This is just an introduction. In the next video, in the next class, we will move to the topic number 1, that is floristic region of India. Thank you very much.